Coming up on Global Business, currency power. The Chinese yuan has become the fourth most used currency for cross-border transactions, giving a boost to Beijing's efforts to internationalize the use of the yuan. Consumer Insights, China's leading consumer products exhibition, concludes in Hainan, revealing more future consumer trends and preferences. And key meetings, global economic issues and policy coordination are in focus as World Bank and IMF spring meetings continue in Washington, D.C. Hello, welcome to this edition of Global Business. I'm Zhu Jufeng in Beijing. In the first quarter, nearly 30% of all cross-border settlements in China's trade in goods were conducted in RMB. Officials from the People's Bank of China and the State Administration of Foreign Exchange made the remarks at a presser in Beijing on Thursday, while stressing financial support for the real economy and small and micro companies. CGTN's Gao Ang has more.
The aggregate financing has grown steadily. Financing costs have remained stable and declining, and the foreign exchange market has shown resilience in the first quarter. That's a key message from officials of the People's Bank of China and the State Administration of Foreign Exchange.
In the
first quarter, nearly 30% of all cross-border settlements in China's trade in goods were conducted in RMB. The currency has ranked as the fourth most active currency in global payments for consecutive 4 months.
Official data shows that the aggregate financing to the real economy hit 12.9 trillion yuan, or over $1.7 trillion in Q1 2024. Specifically, RMB loans to the real economy registered an increase of more than 9 trillion yuan, or over $1.2 trillion. Officials also say that the growth rates of loans to private enterprises, small and micro enterprises are both significantly higher than the average growth rate of all types of loans.
We focus on private and small and micro enterprises and aim to channel funds to flow into the real economy. In terms of lending, we have fully leveraged tools such as inclusive loan support to small and micro enterprises. This has encouraged financial institutions to increase lending to private and small and micro enterprises, thereby reducing financing costs.
Officials also highlighted the RMB exchange rate, technology and green finance, as well as the opening up of China's bond market. Officials say overseas institutions from more than 70 countries and regions have entered China's bond market, including foreign central banks. As the trend continues to grow, authorities pledge to enhance liquidity management tools and improve communication with global investors to make it more convenient for them to access China's financial opportunities. Gao Ang, CGTN, Beijing.
Now, to gain a better understanding of the growth outlook for the Chinese economy based on recent released data for the past 3 months, let's bring in Qu Qiang, a fellow of the Belt and Road Research Center at Minzu University of China. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Qu. What's your analysis of the performance of China's financial sector in the first quarter?
Well, Junfeng, I think the performance in the Q1 of Chinese financial sector is actually can be concluded in 2 words. Number 1 is stability, and number 2 is improvement. Well, stability means, well, if you take a look at the expansion activities in the financial sector of China, you find, it's very, very stable. And the rhythm, I think, is rather good. Well, some people will probably argue, okay, it's only about 9% of expansion of financial activities. Is that good enough? Because last year probably is going to be, double digits. Well, we have to understand last year we have a peak in the numbers. So the base numbers of the financial expansion is very, very large. So even though we have about 9% of expansion rate, but the sheer number of the financial resources pumped into the real economy is already very large. So I think the basic fundamentals in this sector are very stable. And also take a look at the structures. Most of the financial funds of resources have been channeled into real economies. If you take a look at the high-tech, SMEs, private sectors, and also agriculture-related industries, some areas have already seen double-digit growth in financial expansion. So which means the structure of the financial resources have been optimized and activities.
Now let's talk about foreign investment in China. How do you interpret the data for Q1 foreign investment in China? To what extent can this be attributed to China's support policies?
Well, for the foreign investment into China, first of all, in real economy, we see more of the entities investing in China. For example, many countries from European Union, for example, France and Spain, their companies established in China have been growing at double digits. I think this is a phenomenon. Visa-free policies, 24 favorable policies, I think it's been working. And also another evidence coming from the security market. We've been seeing at the end of the Q1, there have been about $40 billion worth of the security, especially the T-bond buy-in Chinese market, are happening. And the foreign exchange rate are not lying, because renminbi's exchange rate against US dollar is probably the least depreciated currencies among all the other world currencies. So I think foreign investment are coming back to China in the Q1.
Now, China's overall economic data in the first quarter, we've got so many data in many aspects. They are much better than expected. In light of this, what is the outlook for the rest of the year?
Well, in short, I think the outlook for this year are very, very good, because Q1 already gave us a very satisfying answer. And continuing with the trend, there are three positive factors kicking into play. Number one is the fiscal expansion. For example, we're looking at 10 trillion renminbi worth of the package you are rolling out in the next days of the year. And secondly, it's about the trade and also the upgrading of our economy. For example, we're renovating the old infrastructures and try to provide more support to the local economy. And also the third one is the new productive forces, because many of the new kind of productive forces, like the digital economy, like the real economy devices, are coming into play. And also, there's another extra factor is that the chaotic environment internationally are providing a rather good environment for China, because a lot of international players try to move their investment into China because they consider Chinese environment are more peaceful and very stable against the chaotic outside world. So it's probably a safe bet, which makes Chinese economy in the 2024 something we can expect.
Thank you so much. That's Mr. Chu Qiang from Minzu University of China in Beijing. China's industrial economy got off to a good start in Q1. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology released a series of statistics for industrial development on Thursday. Our reporter Liu Jiaxin has the latest.
China's industrial sector has seen a steady growth in Q1 2024. Officials say the total added value of industrial enterprises above the designated size grew by 6.1% year-on-year in the first quarter, 1.5 percentage points faster than that of the whole of 2023.
Electronics, chemicals, automobiles, and other industries have played a significant role in driving growth. Major industrial provinces and cities played a leading role as well.
Among the 41 major industry categories, Shan Zhengde says 37 have maintained growth momentum. The major industrial provinces such as Jiangsu, Shandong, and Zhejiang registered a growth rate above 8.2%. Consumer goods manufacturing picked up by 4.2% year-on-year, reversing the sluggish trend since April 2022. The growth of the information and communications technology industry also stands out.
As of March end, a total of over 3.6 million 5G base stations have been built. 6 out of every 10 telecommunication users are 5G users. The integrated application of industrial internet has expanded to 49 major categories of national economy.
So far, nearly 10,000 digital workshops and intelligent factories have been built nationwide. Officials say they will keep accelerating deep integration of artificial intelligence and manufacturing, as well as promoting low-carbon development for future applications. Liu Jiaxin, CGTN, Beijing.
China's National Bureau of Statistics has announced that the country's GDP increased by 5.3% in the first quarter of 2024. This growth rate exceeds the year-round expectation of 5%. Earlier, our reporter spoke to Liu Shangxi, president of the Chinese Academy of Fiscal Sciences, to get his insights to the matter.
The first quarter data clearly indicates that the Chinese economy has experienced a steady development that has exceeded previous expectations. Notably, indicators such as high-tech equipment in emerging industries and industrial added value demonstrate a positive upward trend. An example of this progress can be seen in the PMI, which reflects significantly improved enterprise expectations compared to previous periods. These factors serve as catalysts for sustained economic growth.
这些指标看其实都是向好的。
The fourth China International Consumer Products Expo has concluded in the city of Haikou in southern China's Hainan province. This year's event saw even more foreign brands in attendance looking to enter the Chinese market. The number of participating countries increased by 9% and the number of brands by 19% compared to the third edition last year. A total of 12 RCEP countries participated, accounting for 80% of the total number of member countries. CGTN's Omar Khan reports.
Over 4,000 brands from 71 countries and regions participated in this year's expo. The UK, Russia, Mongolia, and Malaysia showcased their national pavilions for the first time, resulting in a promising outcome to the fourth Consumer Products Expo.
This year, we have had many large purchasers on site discussing cooperation with us, mainly from various industries, including some state-owned enterprises. We found that the quality of the Consumer Expo venue is better than that of other exhibitions, and the scale of customers is also larger. So I believe that our business volume this year should be in the domestic market, and it should be the most we have signed in a year. We come here every year and we're loyal fans.
The influx of imports is vital to China's consumer market, as demand for high-quality goods continues to grow. But aside from all things business, the expo plays a crucial role in Hainan's development goals, both domestically and regionally.
This year's Consumer Expo has attracted 4,019 brands from 71 countries and regions, including 25 Fortune Global 500 companies and 27 China Fortune 500 companies, with a total exhibition area of 128,000 square meters. During this year's Consumer Expo, a total of 1,462 new products were launched. The main venue of the International Convention and Exhibition Center at this year's Consumer Expo is expected to have 373,000 attendees. As of now, 36 exhibitors have signed contracts this morning to confirm their participation in the next edition, which is the fifth Consumer Expo.
For 4 years, this expo has served as a major platform helping facilitate cross-border trade and helping foreign brands localize throughout the Chinese market. And many of these brands have returned as China is a major part of their global market share and sales. And with Hainan opening up to be an investment destination, the potential for this island to become an economic hub remains massive. Omar Khan, CGTN, Haikou.
At this year's Hainan Expo, global attendees forged strong connections with their Chinese customers and partners. My colleague Wang Tianyu reports.
Welcome home. Thank you, thank you. This is James from the UK. He and his Chinese wife have more than 5 million followers on social media.
So we're among the better-known influencers in China who are from Europe.
I ran into them in Haikou, the capital city of China's southernmost island province, Hainan, where the China International Consumer Products Expo is being held. Why was James at the event?
So we're involved a lot in helping to introduce European, especially British companies into the Chinese market and to kind of promote the investment of these English companies into China and especially into Hainan.
At this year's Hainan Expo, there are over 4,000 brands from 71 countries and regions represented. What they're looking for is more or less what James has been doing to unlock China's fast-growing consumer market.
And I mean, we are 100% positive with the future, and it's just a matter of time. We need more or less to manage this transitional phase as everyone, and to set up the foundation of the business, to set up the strengths of our brand.
As a brand, we're looking to develop and always develop with China. For Hainan Expo, it's another great opportunity to show our vehicles, create a platform to invite trade commerce, and of course hear feedback directly from customers about what they expect from us and what we can deliver for them as a brand.
During my interviews, the global company's executive told me their Chinese customers are relatively younger and the proportion of female buyers are higher. They said that this country is where they will keep growing their roots in. Wang Tianyu, CGTN in Haikou, Hainan Province.
The 2024 Canton Fair is currently underway in China's southern Guangzhou city, with exhibitors showcasing their latest tech products. Our reporter Dai Kai-yi spoke to some of the exhibitors and discovered how they can earn buyers' trust by constantly innovating and being socially responsible.
Over the past couple of days, I've been talking to overseas buyers at Canton Fair. They say every year they find new items and products at the fair. That's probably why the event has been around for over 60 years, connecting Chinese producers with international purchasers in a seamless way. China's never short of cutting-edge technologies, but now these exhibitors are really proving that the country leads not only in design concepts, but also in corporate social responsibility.
At the pavilion of BrainCo, a brain-computer interface company based in China, we see brain-computer interface robotics for hands that helps amputees to move. According to a senior vice president, it's one of the very few brands in the world that can move individual fingers without any surgery.
In terms of commercialization, this technology, I think we are among the top in the whole world, because BCI for now is still a very, very early stage technology in many places. For the invasive ones, as we all know, like the Neuralink, Elon Musk's Neuralink, they are still doing, they just started doing like lab tests for us. Most of the products already commercialized, and we already have thousands of users actually using them. We all believe in this technology and believe in the real-life impact of it.
He Xiyujin says the goal of the company is to bring the technology out of the lab and into real life. She says many similar types of tech startup companies she knows are also shifting toward designing products in a way that actually change people's lives for the better. Just about 30 meters away from BrainCo, auto company GAC has a booth showcasing its fancy sports cars. The general manager of its sales and services says China's EV manufacturers lead not just in batteries and motors themselves, but in the concept of building not just a car, but a smart space for drivers and passengers.
In recent years, the automotive industry has seen advancements in electrification, intelligence, connectivity, and sharing. With China's progress in new energy technologies, particularly in battery, motor, and control systems, as well as intelligent connectivity, our concept and technology have led not only to smarter cars but also to smarter mobility solutions. This has positioned China as a leader in both conceptual and technological aspects, guiding the global auto industry's direction.
Whether it's brain-computer interface technology or smart solutions provided by China's EV producers, domestic companies are thinking more on how technology can bring real changes in the society. And it's not just lofty concepts they're talking about here. Rather, they approach it in a very down-to-earth manner so that these technologies can bring tangible benefits to people's lives. 戴凯， CGTN 广州。
The Belt and Road Initiative Tax Administration Cooperation Mechanism, also known as BRITACOM, is celebrating its 5th anniversary. In the past 5 years, BRITACOM has expanded beyond Eurasia to include Africa, Oceania and Latin America. In our broadcast, a total of 36 Council members, 30 observers and 20 Capacity Enhancement Group or BRITASEC members and 14 BRITASEC partners. The member jurisdictions have continued to grow and strengthen, making it a crucial multilateral tax cooperation platform under the Belt and Road Initiative. So far, BRITASEC has successfully organized over 90 online and offline training programs with more than 5,000 tax officials from over 120 countries and regions participating. The positive feedback received from officials in multiple countries highlights the success of this cooperation.
It's a very important mechanism of cooperation. It's a platform, multilateral platform that highly serves the Belt and Road and especially BRITACOM members in terms of experience sharing, in terms of capacity building, and in terms of improving tax administration and tax in general.
Peru is participating in Belt and Road Initiative, and we are observers in BRITACOM. So we are going to participate also in Hong Kong in September. So we are committed to know more about BRITACOM and to develop and participate and cooperate more with BRITACOM.
We have adopted a lot of measures or initiatives trying to enhance the certainty of taxpayers. And now China, we're proud to say that China has about 114 tax treaties covering 114 destinations for our Chinese firms going abroad, and also for the incoming investors because it's bilateral.
Watching Global Business, more to come. Key meetings, global economic issues and policy coordination are in focus as World Bank and IMF spring meetings continue in Washington, D.C.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
Over to the U.S., where the World Bank and IMF annual spring meetings are entering their fourth day. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva just briefed the media on lenders' global policy agenda this year, a report that lays out policy challenges ahead facing its member countries and how the IMF will respond. For the latest, across to John Tarrant in New York. John, what has the IMF said about global growth and China's situation, I mean.
Yep, global growth in China. Jing Fong, good morning from New York. Now remember, this meeting is taking place, the spring meeting of the IMF and the World Bank in Washington, D.C. I'm here in New York reporting on it, and it's a kind of jamboree for economists and politicians and NGOs, a very important gathering every year in Washington, D.C., where they look back to what happened in the previous year, in this case 2023, and look forward to what's going to happen in 2024, 2025 and beyond. And the IMF is predicting that there will be another year coming up of steady and quite slow growth, and that it will be different region by region. So pretty good growth in China, for example, and the United States, but less good growth in the European zone. Now, Kristalina Georgieva, who is the Bulgarian Managing Director of the IMF, is talking about the tepid 20s. And what she means by that, Jing Fong, is the years between 2020 and 2030 being really quite extraordinarily tepid, rather slow, rather lackluster growth, unless something is done to change that. Now, these are the figures from the IMF. It's predicting that global growth this year will be 3.2%, the same next year, and that's a revision upwards of 0.1%. So not very much, but a little bit. But if you look 5 years out, 5 years from now, the IMF is predicting global growth of only 3.1%, and that is a decade's low figure. So what is the IMF blaming? Well, partly the strength of the US economy here, where I am, overshadowing the European Union and even China, where demand has been slower, inflation and interest rates and the need to bring inflation down, and the hiking of interest rates by central banks, conflict, of course, in Ukraine and Gaza, and now the wider Middle East issue after what we saw last weekend involving Israel and Iran. The IMF is talking about a 15% increase in a barrel of oil if that goes further, adding potentially 0.7% to global inflation data. But the IMF also says there are strong signs around business investments, not bad globally. Labor is strong here in America and elsewhere. The consumer's rebounding in China and the European Union, albeit slowly, and the supply chain issue has gone away now, though the Red Sea is obviously a potential hotspot. Now, as for China, well, the IMF produces every year figures for the global economy and China, of course. They do it in January, then they revise it to coincide with this meeting in Washington, D.C. and the publication of the World Economic Outlook. And they are saying that China's growth is unchanged from January to now. So that's 4.6% this year, 4.1% in 2025, but that is down a little bit from 5.2 where it was in 2023. And the IMF is warning the property issue in China could be a problem going forward, led by Evergrande and other property companies, leading to financial stress. The IMF is calling for a comprehensive restructuring plan when it comes to the property issue. If not, it could prolong the demand downturn in China. Also, China's outlook could worsen, says the IMF, and it could heighten inflationary pressures. If there is a surge on cheap exports, that could lead to retaliation from other countries. We're seeing a lot of that from the United States towards China at the moment. The IMF cites an aging population as a potential problem and also calls for support for vulnerable families in order to boost the demand issue in China. Now, having said that, the IMF also says that China's first quarter growth, the first 3 months of the year, January through March, was stronger than expected. And so therefore that could lead to a revision of all this thinking and all these figures going forward into the year and into 2025. And the background to all of this here in America is that President Biden is calling for a doubling of tariffs on China steel imports into the United States. He's doing that because he's busy campaigning for re-election in November. There's Biden inquiry into China shipbuilding going on here. America accuses China of overcapacity with EVs and solar, something China hits back by saying that is a bizarre narrative. It's a bizarre thing to say. And yet at the same time, the US-China Working Group met for the 4th time this week, and Janet Yellen was only in Shanghai and Beijing last week, having a very successful set of meetings with senior Chinese leaders and setting up more dates for that US-China group to go on making progress.
Thank you so much for that much information. Much appreciated, John Terry, for us from New York. Innovation has long been a significant driving force of global economic growth, and China is committed to encouraging the development of positive ideas as it strives to become a technological powerhouse. This focus on innovation as a driver of growth and development remains a priority for China, as cited by the Director of IMF Fiscal Affairs, Victor Gasper. Let's hear his insights.
The emphasis on innovation and this expression, new quality productive forces, are very good points to emphasize. We in the Fiscal Monitor put the focus on innovation as a driver of output growth and development, and that at this point in time is a very important priority for China. And emphasizing innovation is natural because China can already put on record some important successes, like in the production of green energy. Imagine solar panels. China is world leader in solar panels. Think about electric vehicles. There are some aspects of electrical vehicles where China is at this point defining the global productivity frontier. So this emphasis is fully justified, and it's a very important priority for China.
A quick look at some other business headlines around the world. Germany's central bank is forecasting an economic rebound in the first quarter, driven by growth in the industry and construction sectors. However, it has cautioned that the growth may not be sustainable due to persistently weak demand. Australia's jobless rate experienced a slight increase last month, but it still remained below what was estimated. Authorities have stated that the labour market remains tight. In a commodities market, spot gold futures are gaining momentum due to a weaker dollar and concerns over conflicts in the Middle East. After a moderate adjustment on Wednesday, gold in London and New York are currently hovering around $2,400 per ounce. With that, we'll wrap up this edition of Global Business. I'm Jun Yufeng in Beijing. Thanks for watching. City Tune continues with more news and views. Stay with us.